Higher level biology paper 1A, the multiple choice paper. You've got 30 questions. I'm going to make this into sets of 10, so there will be 3 videos associated with this. On with the questions. So the Miller-Urey experiment contributes to an understanding of the origin of life. Okay, so how does it do so? So let's go through the options available to us. It shows us how phospholipids form protocells. Well, that was never part of the Miller-Urey work. That came from other areas of evidence. It explains how organic molecules arise from inorganic ones under certain environmental conditions. So this is a possibility, and that allows me to raise a point about multiple choice questions with the IB, that we're looking for the best fitting answer, not a perfect fit. So that one's pretty good. C, it explains the synthesis of RNA, recreating deep sea vent conditions. Well, on the contrary, it does not recreate these conditions. If anything, it creates the conditions from the hot springs. So not that one. It shows how the last universal common ancestor evolved from vesicles. Well, not at all. None of them do. And so we're left with 1B as our best fitting answer. How does the study of rock deposition provide evidence of when organisms first started to photosynthesize? Well, with photosynthesis came oxygen as the waste product, and of course with that comes oxidation. So what we see is the oxidation of minerals and of various elements. Let's see if these fit the options. Fossils of leaves were found from the first plants to photosynthesis. Well, that wasn't what we're talking about, so not that one. Given that the first plants would not have had leaves at that stage. Analysis of rocks for magnesium indicate when chlorophyll could have been synthesized. That's not the case. Carbon content indicates the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. It doesn't actually. Rocks of different color were deposited when oxygen was released by... Well, this is right. This is where the oxidation of rocks comes in, and it creates often reddened layers, particularly associated with iron. So we're going to go for 2D. Question 3. What cell component is found in eukaryotic cells but not in prokaryotic cells? So hopefully, as you do so, you're thinking about the simple structure of the prokaryotic cells, which lack membrane structures internally, whereas eukaryotic ones do have membrane-bound structures internally. And we start off with A, mitochondria for respiration. Well, eukaryotic cells do, but prokaryotic cells do not. So already we have a candidate for our answer, but let's take a quick scan of the others. DNA containing genetic information is not, they both have that. Ribosomes, they both have those, although different sizes. Cell walls to maintain shape. Plant cells and prokaryotic cells both have cell walls, so this isn't going to work. So 3A is our best fitting answer. So we're hearing about a bacterium. In this number 4, we're reading about a bacterium that caused the bubonic plague in the 14th century. And it normally produces ATP in the presence of oxygen, so we know that that makes it aerobic. But it still can produce ATP if it's absent, so that means it's anaerobic. It can be anaerobic, so that means we can put an or in there. Which term best describes this characteristic of having the option? And certainly not C and D, which obligate means obligatory. Facultative means a choice. It's not facultative respiration, it's a facultative anaerobe, so we have to go for 4B. Question 5 is looking at a thin section of a plant mesophyll cell, and we have here a scale bar at 5 micrometers, and we're being asked what the magnification is of the image. So on paper, on the examination paper that you have, I measured the length of this bar to be 18 millimeters, and yet the original size is 5 micrometers. So at conversion, this means that if we multiply this by 1,000 to take it to micrometers, we have 18,000 micrometers divided by 5, and of course that is the answer there, B. Question 6. Which best describes stem cells? Cells only found in the embryo? Well, of course not. They're found in adults as well. Multipotent embryonic cells that can differentiate into all cells. Careful reading here. They don't differentiate into all cells. Some cells, some different types, but certainly not all. So we can't have that one. Totipotent stem cells that are found in specific niches in adults. Well, this is not the totipotent stem cell. Those are associated with embryos. So this is wrong. Pluripotent stem cells that may differentiate into blood cells. Well, that is true. Of course, they may differentiate into something else entirely, but certainly not all cells. They have limited differentiation. So this is going to be our best option, and this highlights very nicely the technique with IB's questions of picking the best answer and paying careful attention to the language being used in the question. Which graph represents the change in surface area to volume ratios with increasing diameter? So all of the graphs have the same axes of cell diameter and surface area to volume. So remember that in the to calculate surface area, that's this times this, which is increasing by the square. But for the same structure, the volume increases by the cube. And so when you divide that by that, the trend will be a decrease. So therefore this one and this one do not fit. But because we're dealing with different powers, we therefore will not have a linear relationship. Instead, we will have this curvilinear relationship. Our option is B. The black walnut secretes chemical juglone into the soil, and that inhibits cell respiration in other species of plants. What does this example illustrate? Well, of course, the tree then, with its inhibition, means that nothing will grow underneath it, and that is this, allelopathy. You may have heard about the teak doing the same thing, and you may have heard about yew trees doing the same thing, in this case, the black walnut. On to question 9. What is a community? So perhaps you have a definition already rehearsed from our study of ecology, but as my community is made up of populations of different species, and they interact with each other. So let's see if that works. A group of individuals of the same species, well, already I'm eliminating this because I want different species. A group of animals that interact socially, well, perhaps they do, but we're looking for total interaction, in particular the feeding relationships, so not B. A group of organisms interacting with the abiotic environment. The interaction that we're concerned with is with each other, which is biotic environment, so C is eliminated. Just check D. A group of populations interacting with each other in a given area. This is fine. 9D. Question 10. How do greenhouse gases contribute to global warming? Well, they don't destroy the ozone, so we have to get rid of A. They prevent radiation from escaping into space. Now, this is true. So let's hold there and look to make sure this is the best fit. They trap shortwave radiation. Well, in fact, they track long wave. They trap long wave. So C goes. They are a product of combustion which generates heat. So that doesn't work because some of them are not produced by combustion. So our option is B. We'll stop at this point and publish this video. There will be two more, 11 to 20 and then 21 to 30.